You know, I was down at a public car park in Torquay a few weeks back, and it was a Ringo system, no coins to take or anything. And I got out of the car and went to pay with the Ringo thing, 'cause I'm quite okay with phones and mobiles and apps and stuff. I got the Ringo on my phone anyway, but I couldn't get a signal, which is a bit absurd. It's a car park that's got to use a phone to pay for it, and I've got no signal. Why have you got this system here? And as I'm walking around with the phone trying to find a signal, a guy come up to me coming back to his car and said, "No good trying to get that here, mate. You've got to walk at least 100 yards up that hill there before you get a signal." I said, "That's mad." He said, "Yeah, I know." He said, "Lots of people have been done in this car park because by the time they've got a signal, sometimes the warden's been round and copped them." I said, "That's absurd." He said, "Yeah, well, that's why this car park's half empty all the time." I said, "What an absurd situation." When I looked into it further, I see there's been a report about it now. I mean, a lot of elderly people and infirm people and people that have got mental learning difficulties, things like this, won't have a phone, won't have a card. This is really knocking them back, isn't it? This means that they can't go into town shopping, because if all the town shops, car parks are all Ringo or one of those other systems, there's loads of them, aren't there? I know, I'm just using them as a main case. But if they're all those, then they can't park their car. So that means they can't go shopping. So really that has an adverse effect on that town shopping. So all the local little town shops that rely on people to come round and come into town shopping are getting less people, because people can't get there. And I know they've got public transport, and if you've got buses and trains to get to towns, that's a different thing. Well, what I'm talking about here is people that can't get any transport. They live a long way away from a bus stop or trains or whatever, and rely on the car all the time. That means they can't go into those towns. That means that town is not benefiting from the extra shoppers that they may have got, as the council have decided to go for these damn systems that are just card Ringo type app paying systems only. Now, when it's the card system with cash, that's great, but they're all phasing them out, the councils, because them machines have got to be emptied of the money. They can't leave that money in there. It means they've got to employ somebody to go around and empty the machines every day. So that's, you know, another point. They save a bit of money there, don't they? But how much do they actually lose? Because they're not getting people into the town who think, "I can't use that system, it's hopeless," you know. I mean, I've been to plenty of places where I've tried the Ringo and we've actually not got through, and there's been a lot of other people who say, "I don't know what's the matter with Ringo today, it's not your fault, something's gone down with their system," or something like that. And you think, well, this is terrible, isn't it? And we end up getting back in our cars and going. I've done it before now in the town of Exeter near me, where the car park Ringo just was not working, along with about 5 or 6 other people who couldn't get it to work. We're all walking round and they had a problem with the system, but that's not our problem. But if we left our car, we'd still get a fine. Funny old world, isn't it? But apparently council-run leisure centres also are doing the same thing. They're all going cashless and using cards, things like that you've got to use now, which is obviously not good for people that haven't got cars. Not everybody's got bank cards and stuff like this. You know, there's a lot of people in a lot of grey areas that are not that way inclined. They've not got cars. They're not brought up with them, brought up with cash. So things like trains. If you're on a train now, you can't pay cash anymore. It's all cashless. So if you haven't got a card, you can't eat, you can't drink. I was at a local place near to me down here in Devon, and it was called Creeley Adventure Park. It's a lovely place, and I took the kids there. Now it's all cashless in there, everything is cashless. And I heard someone say to a person sitting next to me in a canteen, would they mind buying a cake and a cup of tea, and she'd give him the money because she didn't have a card. And he certainly did. The guy did. He went up and paid with his card, and she gave him the money. But what a poor state of affairs. So if you'd gone there for the day, for instance, and you hadn't got your card, so you forgot it, or you haven't got that app, your banking app on the phone, you won't be able to eat in there all day, would you? But places are becoming like that everywhere, and it's kind of detrimental to certain groups in society, isn't it? And I think that's quite an area that needs looking into. And I say we've had problems, and you know it's something that we've got to look into. Anyway, just something I thought I'd bring up with you, see how you got on with it. Terrible, I think. But anyway, that's it. Just a little gripe from me because I had a problem the other day in a car park. But there you go. Oh, and one other thing. Do you find that cash machines, they're fast disappearing from our towns, aren't they? They're very few and hard to find in most towns, and if you do find them, there's usually a long queue. Seems like they're gradually trying to phase them out, and what a disaster, isn't it? So you won't even be able to get hold of cash easily soon at this rate. We don't stop it. We've got to stop the decline in the use of cash. It's a must-have area we've got to have in our lives, cash.
I mean, I understand that.
Shut up.